Stop touching her! Don't touch her! You are not the same age. Please do not touch her.
Hi, I'm Andy,
And I'm Roger,
and welcome to The Middle,
where we try to have thoughtful conversations
about awkward topics.
on our search to find the middle.
That's fatphobic.
I don't feel war. I just own halfway to Siwa.
A few moments ago, Buckingham Palace announced the death of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II.
I act as if God exists.
Put your masks on.
How dare you! You have stolen my dreams, my childhood, with your empty words.
Hello, listeners. In this episode, we play some audio excerpts from a YouTube video that Roger and myself found interesting. Because there are things you can see in the video that you won't necessarily be able to pick up from the audio, we've uploaded an edited version of this video onto our YouTube channel, which we'll link in the show notes. Please enjoy the episode.
Andy, how you doing?
Pretty fucked, to be honest.
I love that part about the Australian language. You know, that just the way that we casually use fuck all the time. Fuck with, fuck, get fucked. It's a great thing, I think.
Fucking oath. I've just been reading our Facebook page, and I came across this comment about a parking story, and I thought we should hear a little bit more. So we've got Reuben on to tell us.
Hey guys,
Of course, it's Reuben. How you doing? Welcome back to the pod.
great to be back, and yeah, I've got a perfect relevant story for you.
So just to recap for those who, maybe haven't listened to the last 3 or 4 episodes, we have pivoted and we are the parking ethics adjudicators, and we're here to judge other people's parking behaviours. We've had a wonderful story from Roger, his experience with a car park reservist who went and hailed down a spot without a car, and I reported my experience with reverse parking in a one-way lane the other week. So Reuben has contributed. Roger, are you ready? Are you ready for this?
Yeah, I'm not sure I am actually, but I've copped a lot of shit from that episode. Actually, I think it's struck a chord with our listeners, and I'm being accused of being a self-hating Asian. And now, somehow, in a weird twist of fate, after all our racial issues and episodes, Andy is now the people's defender for Asian heritage. So I'm keen to hear the story, Reuben. Maybe you can add a bit of Jewish spice to the mix.
For sure. So I'll start by saying that I'm trying to be a nice, polite person out there. But yeah, this is going back quite a while ago when I was share housing with mates. And on this particular day, we were moving house. Had a bunch of mates helping me. One of them had a van, I think, and we were out the front of the apartment block waiting for him to arrive. And we get out there, me and at least 2 of my mates with me, and right there, right out in front of the apartment block, the pole position parking spot is available. So yeah, this is perfect for what we need. Because if we didn't get this spot, we would have to be carrying down the street. And so, of course, we're all standing in the spot. I think I took the lead because I'm like, this is important. This is my move. We've got to make this happen. And yeah, I didn't think twice about it. Now, the way that I would handle this is if someone drives up and rolls down their window and they're like, hey guys, what are you doing? Why are you standing there? I want to park there. Of course, it's yours. I would have explained to them, hey, this is why we're standing here. We're moving house. It makes such a big difference if we could have this spot. Could you find another spot? And if they refused, okay, wouldn't have held a grudge at all. In any case, we're standing there for a minute or two. And we're looking down the road. We didn't even see the car. I think a mate must have yelled like, whoa. And the next thing we know, we're jumping out of the way of a car that is in the middle of reverse parking right into the spot that we were standing in. There was no time to even consider what to do. It was just instinct survival, jump out of the way of this car. And we're like, what the? And this woman gets out of the car, and I think I must have said to her, hey, you nearly hit us there. And I think she said something back. I don't think she even looked at us. I think she said something like, oh, you're not allowed to reserve a park. You're not allowed to stand in a park. And she just walked off. She had a kid with her, like a 10-year-old boy or something. And they just left in a huff. And I was boiling mad.
So, Reuben, do you think she had a reverse camera and she could kind of see you panicking just about to hit you
Maybe
guys.
a kid who was pretending it was a video game. I think bonus points. So yeah, I was
Oh,
very angry.
Is this like one of these situations where it's just like a slow but like solid crunch, like, you know, one of those compactor type things that can crush cars? Was it just like one of those slow things, or was it just, nah, fuck it, I'm like, and like a really fast sort of?
I'm really curious too, Reuben. Are you like dramatizing this whole thing, or was it actually like she was smoking in and she had to brake? Like I'm imagining skid marks and she's like,
No, I think she reversed in at normal speed. I don't think she was like inching in to like bump us out of the way gently. Yeah, from memory, she just went in. Now I understand how stressed a parent can be. Maybe her kid was giving her shit and she had a bad day and she needed to get, maybe she was late for something and she was just like, don't care that these people are here. I'm going to reverse in and walk off and I don't care.
I've just had one of those afternoons where, like, on a little bit of a schedule, I knew that we were supposed to, like, you know, record this one at this time, plus like I had to cook dinner, plus I had to do this other thing, plus I had to do that other thing. And I just had in my mind, oh, this is going to be a stressful next couple of hours, right, to get through. And I got my son a hamburger, right, for dinner. Like I had it all, like, what's that management thing you do, Roger, the lean?
just in time.
Just in time, you know, I had that all worked out. I'll order the burger. Only then will I go to Aldi to pick up my stuff that I need. Then I'll go back and the burger will be ready. So it's like really efficient. And so I did that. I went to Aldi, ordered the burger, went to Aldi, came back. And I kind of came back and like there was no one in the burger restaurant, like place except for me. So I walked back in and the guy was there. He could clearly see me. So I was like, yeah, it's okay. Like, because the guy said 10 minutes, right? This was already like 15 minutes. They must just be like finishing it off. And then I'm waiting there for like another 15 minutes. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? Like they said 10 minutes and it's like half an hour now. And then he has this moment of like realization. Oh, sorry, that's been ready for a long. Oh, sorry, I just didn't. For fuck's sake. So I was waiting there for about 20 minutes longer than I had to. And it was just precious time. But anyway, I'll bring it back. That's a long digression. Reuben, to bring it back to your case study, I was just in that, like, you know, rapid reverse parking. I was like, nah, fuck this. Like, I would have honked someone if they were going a little bit too slow. Like, I've got to move on. I was that person who almost ran you over.
Well, I mean, it could happen. We could bump into each other like that.
I mean, Reuben, I mean, just the other day, my child was getting on my last nerves, and I felt like running someone over. It just came over me. I just had this sudden urge to just back over some people. So yeah, you know, we can really empathize with this out.
No, but it's the pressure of time, right?
I also like that burger situation because you've got a choice there. Do I be a bit pushy and be a bit rude, get their attention, annoy them? Like, where's my burger? Seem like I'm an annoying customer, and they're like, it's coming. Like, we apologize. It's coming. You're like, no, like, I won't be that. I'll just wait patiently. And then, yeah, and then they were at fault.
Yeah.
But it was only when I stood up to be that person that you like, that narky customer that like the penny dropped for the guy. But then I guess what's worse is that I was actually really nice. But I said, oh, no worries, you know, don't worry about it, all good. But like every bit of like my inner rage was like taken out on everyone else, like apart from that guy. Like,
when you got back home, Andy, was your son like, this burger is lukewarm?
He didn't even know he was getting a burger, so it was all upside for him.
Nice.
But Reuben, I think there is a next part to this story, isn't there?
Yeah, I'm passionate about justice, and it was just completely unacceptable what this person did. So I marched down to the local police station down the road. I guess I must have put all our like moving house plans on hold. I don't even know. I can't even remember what happened to the van. I was just like, no. Like I didn't call the police. I mean, she was gone, but I had a number plate, so we went down to the police station. Had my mate backing me up. I think one mate came with me, and I think he was a bit like awkward about it. He was like a bit uncomfortable. This was happening. Yeah, went up to the front desk, up to the cop on duty, told him the story. He was like, "Well, you know, you're not supposed to. It's not really allowed, you know, standing in a parking spot." I'm like, "Yeah, sure, I accept that, but like, nearly running someone over, that's got to be worse, right?" He was like, "Yes, for sure that wasn't the right way that she should have gone about. But of course, like no crime had actually been committed as far as nearly running someone over. She didn't even like threaten us with her car because she didn't tell us she was going to do it. It just happened. So, and I wasn't there to press charges. I just made no sense to sort of get her arrested. And he actually said, look, I could look up the registered owner of the vehicle, call them up and have a word with them. And I was delighted with that. That is exactly what I was after. A talking down to from a police officer, I think would make this person realize, yeah, no, that wasn't the right thing to do. The law is involved. This is more serious, and maybe I would have gotten an apology. But yeah, unfortunately, he came back and said that the vehicle's registered, a phone number in Queensland and a different state that I live in, and the person didn't pick up. Or maybe he didn't even try to call them. I can't remember. And I was just like,
Reuben. I think that conversation you had with that police officer, it was that moment that he questioned all of his life choices that led him to that career, that he had to deal with this asinine request. And absolutely, he went and dialed another officer to tell them about this ridiculous request rather than look up somehow this number plate and call this woman's mobile number. This story is hilarious. And I know it just like, as I was reading the comment, Reuben, I kind of reflected on me. Where have I heard this story before? A Jewish man standing in land that wasn't his and then upset about the reaction that happened when he inhabited that land, that he almost got hurt. It was just like a really weird thing. I've heard this story.
Hey, I was there first. I was totally there first.
It's like it's a classic Australian terra nullius story. It's like, this is unoccupied land. I'm just going to take it.
So, Roger, I agree. But just focusing on the police for a minute, like the community have to get rid of any illusions they have that police actually give a fuck. Like the police do not care about your thing that you think's really important. They just want a problem going away for them. And later in this episode, I think we will get to some further illustrations of this. But Roger, you made a comment to me that they do not care about justice. They don't care about your sense of justice. They just care about the problem going away so they don't have to do anything.
They just want to de-escalate the situation and keep the sludge moving through the pipe. So Reuben, I want to, obviously, my original story about the car park, I went pretty hard on that woman. And I was very, I took quite a hard line around it, both from a racial point of view, unfortunately, though that wasn't the main center of it, but also this idea. Andy and I had this big discussion about, does the person doing this know is actually wrong? And I think that was the kind of like the key of most of the conflict. And listening to you rationalize it, it's very interesting, right? It's kind of like, on one hand, I can concede that in terms of a spectrum of reasons why it might be more acceptable to try to attempt to reserve a spot, moving in a city apartment is one of, right? And I kind of concede that to you, that actually is a good reason. But I would say that you still understand that it's not the right thing to do. And I would go a step further to say that actually, even though you're saying that you will move if someone makes a fuss or asks you, you're banking on the fact that most people won't, right? You're kind of standing there, and there'll be a portion of society that doesn't want the smoke, doesn't want the inconvenience, doesn't want the confrontation, and you're kind of hoping
100%.
that happens. So I kind of, back to you, Andy. I think Reuben knows he's a bad boy deep down.
This comes down to a sense of like ownership and what it is to own something. And that does get influenced by culture, which was the context of our conversation, right? Different. So, yeah, if you grew up in Australia and you're trained to kind of, or educated to know what the rules of the land are based on an upbringing here, then you will have a different sense of what your rights are than someone born in a different cultural context. And the classic example is not because it's necessarily one where there's cultural differences, but one where everyone has different views on, is reclining an aircraft seat. Is the fact that you can recline it your entitlement to recline it? What are the protocols? What if it's a short flight? What if it's a long flight? What about meal service? What if you've got like a 6'5" basketballer in behind you? Like, then you've got like this whole thing of like manners, and do you have to ask the person? And there's no clear answer, because on the one hand, yes, the fact that you can do it means it's your right to do it. But on the other hand, there's all these other conventions. And I think this is where these sorts of things kind of become very grey. And not to bring up the argument again, but that's probably where I was coming from.
Very well put. And I don't want to jump into that specific example, but I find it hard not to. But yeah, I think that, like I said, there's grey areas, but there's also a lot of pieces. And we had a listener question that pretty much said, how can you even claim to know what's right or wrong? And everyone, like this kind of relativism around. And it's just, guys, like, you have to use some sense here, right? In the country that you're in. And I think you have to respond to how people are reacting in a society and in a point in time where we're so sensitive to offenses. When someone is literally telling you you're fucking them over, I think you understand that you are offending someone, right? And then it becomes this choice of, am I entitled to do this?
So we promised you that we would get into a real example where both the police end up being utterly useless and, one of these interesting kind of cultural differences, or, where the rights are and so on. So you may or may not have seen it. It's gone viral, but, I don't know, it's necessarily hit mainstream public consciousness. But this video of this guy in the UK who plays piano in like public places, in train stations. And I don't actually know that much about him, what he does, but basically he's like a YouTube guy, right? He makes money, YouTube videos, all that sort of stuff, right? He's in the UK. So I'm just going to play the first little clip of an audio from a particular video. And he's approached by a group of Chinese people, and just listen in and see what happens.
Anyway, I hope you're all keeping well, everyone. We're rocking and rolling here at the Street Piano. So hit the like button, I'll do a few songs for you.
Oh
yeah, of course, we've got the Chinese here.
Where do you think for Chinese TV? Did you think as all of us in your cameras?
I don't know. Are we allowed?
No.
We're not allowed.
Yeah. So
we're not allowed.
You're not allowed because we're for Chinese TV.
Oh, okay.
This is non-disclosable.
It's not disclosable.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So did you think the fact that
So will we get in trouble with the Chinese government?
Maybe not. I don't know. But you said you're from Japanese.
No, they'll put you in prison, mate.
So just say that according to the Chinese law, we're not allowed to film you. Is that right?
All right. So just to recap what happened, this guy, he's filming in public himself playing piano, right, for his YouTube channel. And in the background, there are these Chinese people, and they approach him and say, oh, you're not allowed to film us. Oh, you need to remove us from your video because we're filming for Chinese TV and it's not disclosable, whatever that means, right? So that's the start of it. What's his name again? Brendan Kavanagh, I think it is. All right. So this next bit, so this, Chinese girl is doing her best to kind of, in a really awkward way, communicate what the problem is. But there's this other Chinese guy who's part of the same group who feels like he has to stamp his authority on the situation, isn't quite satisfied with the negotiation skills of his female friend. So let's listen on to the delightful Newton Leng is his name.
So basically, we will much appreciate it when you are, whatever you're doing, that you don't put our face on TV.
Yes.
Okay, so what will happen if
just don't do it, please. I will really appreciate that. We just very sensitive about this issue. I'm really sorry, but we love your music. We would want to stay here for a lot longer.
I mean, the only thing is, it's just like there's other people filming as well.
That's absolutely fine. That's the other people's business. They can make their own decisions. That's absolutely fine.
So how come Sarah? It's the only issue.
It's just not us, please. Just not us.
No, but what I'm saying is there's other people filming you as well.
Oh no! It's just make sure that we are very secure in the reason that we don't want our voice or picture being filmed, and then that's just the relationship between you and me, you and us, basically.
What relationship?
Just now, we are very. So I'm gonna repeat that. Yeah. All of us, we cannot share our images online.
Right.
Yeah, there's no reason.
Why?
That's our choice. That's our right.
Oh, so it's not a legal thing?
It is a legal thing because this is our right, what we're protecting, and we don't want our voice or images to be revealed. We have our own agreement with other people that we cannot be shown online. Okay. Yeah, so sorry about this. We will put a legal action into it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we will put a legal action into it.
For what?
We will. I'm sorry,
for...
this is the end of the conversation. This is our right we're protecting, and that's it.
But what right? I don't understand.
Image right.
Image right?
Yeah, we're not sharing this image right.
Are you from China?
That's not a question. The only thing we are arguing is that we are protecting our own image rights. You're not sharing.
But we're in public.
Yeah, exactly. No sharing. One day,
but the thing is, we're in a
I'm really sorry. We're on a schedule here.
So me too. But we're in a free country, mate.
That's true.
We're not in communist China now, you know.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is racist now.
No, we're not in communist China. We're in a free country, mate. We can film where we want. You can call the police if you want. I'll be quite happy to call the police. Listen, we're all free here, mate.
This is free, but we don't want
when
to
you're
share
in Rome,
images.
you do as the Romans do. Sorry.
You're Roman?
Yeah, it's a saying.
Newton Long, who's escalated things, threatening legal action, and you can legally, at least in the UK, you can legally film in public, and you have no right to privacy. There's no expectation of privacy in a public place. And if someone is filming, now it might not be the polite thing to do to go and shove a camera in someone's face. And if someone does raise an issue, you might, address it. It's good manners, right? To move the camera away from you or whatever. But you have no legal right not to be filmed just because you don't like it. And this guy's kind of over egging the pudding, sort of suggesting he has some extra rights. But come on, this guy, his tone of voice, come on.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that there are many, many problems I have with what we've just heard. And the nicest interpretation is that this group of individuals are authentically, genuinely confused about what is on their side or not. So that's the kind of generous interpretation. But I think the main thing that gets you is that whether it's a language barrier or whatever it is, or a kind of different tonality that's at play here, what comes across to the Western ear is this really fake, coercive kind of undertone of aggressiveness of, right, I'm being very, very nice to you, and I'm speaking very, very simply to you, you're beneath me. And I'm really having trouble stomaching that you are not doing what I'm telling you to do because I'm being so polite. To me, I think that tone and that style of communication, Westerners are very sensitive to, and you're very rarely going to get your way, no matter what it is, when you approach something like this.
But see, the women do this whole shrinking violet kind of, please don't film us, that kind of giddy Japanese girl style approach, to try and sort of lull into we're friendly, we just want you to delete all your footage that you've just spent hours filming, right? But that tactic actually maybe would have had a chance of succeeding. If they just said, if they just kept that going, just said, oh, look, we're filming something and for this reason, this is why we would, ask that you maybe just edit it out or whatever. And you just have you treat him on equal terms as it's just actually a polite request. And there's a moment in that little clip where he goes, oh, you mean so it's not a legal thing? So he's trying to understand, are you just requesting me human to human not to do it? But then this guy escalates it. No, it is illegal. It's our legal rights and we'll take a legal action if you... Come on, dude. That's where it just went, as we'll see later. That's just where it went haywire, right?
Yeah. I mean, the other thing I will kind of throw in there too is that playing the race card so early and so aggressively as soon as he just mentioned China. And it's relevant to the situation, the context of the situation, that this group are holding Chinese flags.
Well, and they said the very first thing they said is we're filming for Chinese TV, right?
Yeah.
It's he's trying to say, oh, you're from China, so maybe you don't understand the rules here or something, right?
I think if it was just anyone whipping out their phone, just filming something, I don't think they would be approaching everyone saying, no, you film up. They may not have noticed. It could happen that you approach someone and say, oh, you've been filming here, please edit us out. And they might be, oh, sure, no, you don't want to pin.
I think this is a pretty relevant part of it, right? Which is that we've got to give the most generous interpretation to our Chinese friends here on this video, which is that they actually have a good, let's say they do genuinely have, I don't know what the reason is. There's some contract he mentioned, right? But they in their minds do have a good reason that they don't want to be on his footage, right? And we'll hear what his response is later, right? But like, you have to make that request on the grounds of politeness and courtesy, because you have no legal rights. It's a public place. You have no, like, this guy is a YouTuber. He does this. He films in public all the time. He knows the law. He knows what he's allowed to do and not allowed to do. This guy knows he is allowed to film in public because it is a public place. And they approach it with this sense of entitlement of like, no, you've got to do what we tell you to do because we have rights. And that's where it kind of goes a bit haywire.
I think, they went to plan B. Would have worked for them. Mentioning rights, he might have said, oh, okay, all right, don't cause any trouble. But again, they've picked the wrong guy.
All right, let's listen to what happens next. If you think it's bad, it gets worse, I promise you.
You don't want to do it. Yeah,
You don't want to do what?
Yeah,
To share our image.
To share our image.
Well, then
online.
you've got to walk away then. Because it's a public space.
Yeah, definitely. So I tell you, I just tell my choice. Yeah, we don't want to show our image.
Okay, well, you've got to walk away then.
But we have image, right? We have
not in
image.
public. In China,
no,
but we're not in China.
No, I have my choice. I don't want
but
my...
we are in Britain, Great Britain. We're not in China.
I say I'm also British. I'm also British. Okay. I'm also British. I'm also British, but I don't want to use my image.
You've got a Chinese flag there.
It doesn't matter.
Show me the Chinese flag.
Why you're touching her? Stop touching her! Don't touch her, please. Do not touch her. Please, you are not the same age. Please do not touch her. Don't touch her. Please don't touch her. Please don't. Yeah, don't touch her. Don't touch her.
I think it's better.
Yeah.
So just to be very, very clear, he did not touch her. Actually, in the video, you can see she whips out this freaking Chinese flag, and I think he pulls it to look at it. Right?
Yes. When someone has an outburst like, there can be a few reasons behind it, but one thing's for sure, he's either very insecure about the situation this about to happen and likely to panicking, and he knows that his role in this is to be assertive and perhaps defend and be the one to be in control. And the second is a much more Machiavellian approach, and tactically he's doing it because he knows that this will back the dogs off, and he knows that Westerners are very sensitive to this and this whole Me Too thing, and it's a good way to just crying pervert or rape in a crowd is going to disperse the crowd. So I think that we have our world views on this. Obviously, my leanings are much more to the Machiavellian side than most, and I kind of, based on what I've seen, that's where my mind goes. That actually, it's he may be anxious, but he knows he's using this as a tactic. He would know that this man is not trying to sexually assault this woman in public on a live stream, right? So I think that this is a little bit insincere.
Yeah, this is a pure tactic, and it's like the way he shouted it in this really reactionary way is proof that it was a tactic, because it was totally disproportionate to what you see on the video. Like, this guy literally just, I don't know, like with his fingers, I can't remember from the footage, but like he's touching just the flag in a very...
Andy, why do you always make it sound dirtier than it is?
he's fiddling with the fiddling with the flag.
Also, and the video cuts off around nipple height. You don't know what's happening like down there.
To your point, he's absolutely, there's no risk, there's no genuine real threat, but he turns it to this whole like, you're sexually assaulting her. I'm not going to say those words, but like his reaction, only something of that nature would warrant that kind of a response. And so he is using that 100% as a tactic in exactly the same way as he's using it when he pulls the race card. It's like, I know there's certain words I can use to get the upper hand over you and make you look, or at least make you kind of have to defend yourself and have to dig yourself out of some sort of a hole. I'm going to put you in that hole by using these trigger words, and that's going to help me not necessarily achieve actually what I want, because let's just go back 10 steps here. These people do not want to be on camera. Actually, what he's just said has made this video go viral. So he, in that moment, has made actually probably the worst decision of his life, probably, because like people know who he is now and he's like gone viral. But like, if his objective is, I don't want to be on camera, I don't want our faces on camera, he's utterly failed. Yet at the same time, he's kind of, in that moment, almost won the battle because he has actually flipped it a little bit. Because the guy, like this guy, Brendan Kavanagh, he's like suddenly becomes a little bit destabilized. You can tell it in his like tone of voice and his body language and all of that. He regains it a little bit later, but he's a little bit off put by that charge.
Who wouldn't be? It's common knowledge that sexual assault cannot be committed when you are the same age as your victim.
All right, let's hear the next little bit about the racism involved in this incident.
No, I touched the flag.
No.
I touched the flag.
Doesn't matter. You are approaching her with your hand.
You're getting a bit aggressive. You
No. Please say sorry to her.
Well, I want you to
Please say sorry to her.
No, we're not in China, mate.
That's fine. We're not talking about race. This is not a racist issue. Please don't call us we're not in China. This is the moment that you're trying to reach her hand, touch her without her permission. Are you miming me? Are you miming me?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
You're miming me.
I am, yeah.
You're miming me.
Yeah,
You're miming me.
I am, yeah. What are you going to do about it?
Wait for it.
Yeah, I'm waiting for it.
What's her name?
What's my name?
Yeah.
What's your name?
What's her name? Are you trying to answer or not?
Are you in the Communist Party or something?
Stop judging. Stop judging. Why are you calling us communists? Why?
Because you've got a communist flag.
We got the flag of any country. Why are you discriminating a different country?
I'm not discriminating.
Why are you discriminating a different country?
Why are you getting excited?
Oh my God.
Is that not? Is that?
Please educate yourself. All
So
right.
that's
Please
not a
educate yourself.
So that's not a communist
a
flag.
country is different from the political agenda. That is not the same
Is that
matter.
a communist flag?
That's
Yes
not
or
the
no?
same. He's being racist and calling us communists and all that thing. And he was trying to reach. No, he was trying to reach my friend. We can't protect ourselves. We have to protect ourselves. We need him to apologize for my friend.
Roger, how do you feel?
I'm in a difficult spot here because I am too a Chinese communist now. It's like you're serving up. This is like a red flag to a bull here. I just came off the whole telling you that the parking lot episode made me look like a self-hating Asian, right? And now you're serving me up some bad Asian behavior, waiting for me to take the bait. But look, this guy, what we've just witnessed here, what we've listened to, is the worst parts of human communication and conflict, right? Like this is just incredibly frustrating to hear. It actually makes my blood boil, and it's a unique combination of entitlement, miscommunication, racial prejudice on both sides. And it's just this kind of like, I would prefer if they just fucking went at it with fisticuffs. Like that would have more dignity than what we have heard with this kind of weird verbal chess game where they're trying to get one up on each other and failing miserably, right? Like, and it's like all of a sudden they're arguing about whether the flag is actually the communist flag or this, and trying to kind of trying to play debating game when really we have a real conflict here that is not going to be solved, right? Like there's no friendship to be had here. There's no one's winning this argument, right? Someone's going to get their ass kicked, and maybe they should just fast forward to that. That's how I feel.
There's a slight kind of dynamic going on here that's like this guy, this Brendan Kavanagh guy, the piano dude, he is a YouTuber, and he's kind of, his living is made off like views, right? And he, I think, must be in his mind thinking like how this is going to, what kind of content he's creating in the process, right? Because this is gold. Like this absolutely is gold for him. So like in terms of the dynamic, the irony is that no matter what like was happening on the court in terms of the argument, one side was absolutely utterly losing because the very thing that they were after asking for, they were getting absolutely like in reverse, like times a million, like what they didn't want. And but the exact opposite is true for the piano guy, right? So he's not like approaching it with, no, I'm going to satisfy them that it's okay for me to film them because like I want to be able to upload my video, so it's really important to convince them. Part of him must be thinking, oh look, this is gold. I'm gonna like just keep niggling a little bit just to keep them going because I know that like this is gold. This content is amazing.
But to be fair on this YouTube creator, David Kavanagh, he's he's not in the business of confrontation porn, right? Like he has earned most of his viewership by playing incredible piano and interacting with fans in a wholesome way. Like he actually doesn't have a long string of forced confrontation. So he's in. Let's kind of be fair to him. He's in a very awkward situation that he is not practiced. It's not his bread and butter. And yes, he might have this viral breakout hit that he has to play to now, but that's very different from someone who goes out and seeks it like a confrontation channel.
I've got a different view there. I've never heard of the guy, but I did sort of click through to his YouTube channel. He's got 2.2 million subscribers. He's posted over 2,000 videos, and all I could do was just quickly scroll. I definitely could be wrong here, but I think that he definitely started out as a guy who wanted to play piano in public, and then because he's in public, because he's playing piano, and there's a lot of strange people out there in public, I think confrontations started to happen. My guess is the kind of guy that will stick up for himself and doesn't mind a bit of confrontation, especially with police, because it seems to be the police feature a fair bit. But can I just make a strange analogy here? But it's spot on. I hate Instagram, and I started hating it because whenever I wanted to go and search for a profile that I was after to find something, they changed the search page to suggest videos, suggest pictures to look at. Some of these pictures that distract you are of beautiful women not wearing much at all. And I started just to get interested in their lives. Like, who are these people that are pretty much bearing all for likes? And
we don't want to hear about your OnlyFans subscriptions, Reuben.
I knew I was going to get in trouble for this.
How do I get behind the G-string? Find out who's the lady behind it.
Or is there a penis there? I have to find out.
Click through to their profile, kind of see where they're from, which country they're from. It's like some of these women, young women, they're not famous, not celebrities. I've found quite a few profiles where you don't have to go far back. So they've just got boring photos. They've just got here I am with my friends. But then you'll start to see a bit of cleavage, a bit of some swimsuits. And you can see that the likes go up massively. They've gone from getting tens of likes or a couple of hundreds of likes to suddenly they get tens of thousands of likes. And I think, different kinds of people will do different things. My guess is that this guy didn't intend for his YouTube channel to be about confrontation, but I think he found that these videos made his content more controversial, and I think he's achieved a lot of success this way. And then he just keeps going.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was trying to get confrontation in this particular time, but I think when it happens to him, he's like, bring it on. This is great content.
Yes, I agree, Reuben. The sweet Venn diagram of redneck free speech advocates and piano lovers. Yeah, I'm totally buying it.
But I think we, just going back to actually what he's saying and what the arguments were, it was we are from China, we're Chinese, but, you're being racist because you're bringing that into the conversation, and the fact that we're Chinese has nothing to do with it. But I just want to cover that for a little bit, because this is the classic trope of the equivalence of the Communist Party of China and its authoritarian political system and Chinese culture. And this is something that's very interesting because, Roger, I know you're of Malaysian heritage, but Malaysian Chinese heritage. And when I was last in Malaysia, in Kuala Lumpur, the fucking Malaysian Chinese people in Malaysia, when I was there last, they hated people from mainland China. They were just they come here and they're buying everything. There is absolutely nothing racist about, because they ethnically, they are Chinese, right? But they don't like the kind of we're going to assert our political power onto Malaysia. And that's what he's getting at. That's what this Brendan Kavanagh guy is getting at. He's getting at, you're telling me I can't do this something because you're filming something for Chinese TV and you're waving this fucking form in Chinese in my face telling me I can't do this, I can't do that. Hey, we're in fucking Rome. We're in Rome. I can do what the fuck I like. I'm here. I follow the laws of this country. And that's why it becomes about the China thing, because it's that whole, like, you could totally imagine this going down in China, like a Western journalist going to try and film like a bit of Beijing or whatever, and 250 meters from like Tiananmen Square getting like the police coming and saying no, you're not allowed to go there. You can totally imagine that happening, and that's what conjures up this imagery of communism, of communist authoritarian China.
Yeah. And we mentioned, I'll just throw in there that we spoke about like how it's coming across and all this. And I do think that it's all about the angles here, right? Like which side of the car you see driving down the street. Absolutely. It's been documented even on Brendan's channel. And I've done my own research that in China, for Chinese audiences, how this went down was very, very different. Which is not surprising, but it was very much seen as, that these Chinese people finally standing up to, racist colonial masters and being brave enough to stand up in the face of being challenged and all this kind of stuff, right? Of a very rude individual that had racist intention. So it can be spun very easily from what we've seen here into something that suits the narrative.
All right. So let's see how our good friends at the police department handled the situation. And actually, this was what we were talking about, Roger, when you made your comment about de-escalating. Like, that's the only thing they care about. And this is like a classic example of just a feeling of like justice not done. Because I don't know. I'll put my cards on the table. My first reactions to this video were like, oh my God, like these people are absolutely, utterly in the wrong. And what the fuck's going on? Like, this is just out of this world. So you'd think, the police would come in and support this guy, but this is what he was met with when the police came.
Come and talk to me.
Kerry, we're in a public space.
But I need to speak to you without this being on your YouTube channel.
Well, what about what? We're in a public space.
Listen.
No, because the camera never lies.
This is going on your YouTube channel, and I don't want it to go on your YouTube channel.
Well, don't talk to me then, Kerry.
Listen.
She said, Kerry, we're in Britain, we're in a public space, we've got a free country.
The first of the matter is that you're shouting communist comments at them.
No, I said you're waving a communist flag. That's all I said.
And the hands were meant to be going towards her, were you trying to touch her in that
I
regard?
was not trying to touch it, that's why I have a camera.
Right, okay.
That's why I have a camera.
They've requested that the video where they've approached gets deleted and not used on your channel.
Well, they should be you're not their private security agent.
I'm not their private security agent.
And we're in a free country, we're in a free space, we're not causing you trouble. The problem is not from us, Kerry. The problem is they are coming over, telling us what to do. I'm playing the piano. Now, fair is fair, but you are not their private security guards.
I never said I was, and I'm having a conversation with you.
And we're in a free space, in a free country. I'm not causing any trouble.
There's an allegation being made, and that's why I'm
What's the allegation? Now, you told me to stop filming, and now you say there's an allegation. The camera never lies.
The allegation.
That's why I filmed. You told me to turn off my camera, and now you're saying I've got an allegation. What's the allegation?
The reason why I'm asking you not to film it is because I know that you are putting this on your YouTube.
Doesn't matter where it goes. We're in a free country. Sorry, we're in a democracy. We're not in China, and that's not racist. That's the truth. That's what our forefathers fought for.
Exactly, but you can't say things like that either. You can't just say things
like
that.
That we're in a free country.
No, that we're not in China.
We're in a free. This is a free speech issue. I'm sorry. This is a free speech issue. I'm not causing any trouble. They are the ones making a fuss, and they shouldn't get the police as their private security. I think it's a disgrace.
Nobody said that, have they? Who said that?
And on top of that, Kerry, you told me to stop filming, and then you said there's an allegation. Now, if I didn't have my camera, how would I prove my innocence?
All right. So it's racist.
So don't you think just like being in Australia and hearing that conversation with the English accents, it just sounds like an episode of The Office? It's like, but you can't say that. It's just, I feel like I'm watching a low budget comedy or something. I mean, I will just start off by saying that the bobbies in London don't carry guns. So you're going to have to get better at talking to convince someone what to do when you're not strapped. But this, I kind of, feel that she was coming in with the right tonality and a decent attitude, ultimately very misguided around trying to actually get to the truth, which is what my comment was, right? Like, these officers have been trained to de-escalate, right? And a big part of that de-escalation is a negotiation tactic. what's important to one party, what's important to the other. Can we give both parties what they need so this will all just go away and we'll keep the peace, right? And I think that's very different. Like negotiation tactics are and de-escalation is very different from trying to find out, get to the truth, using your judgment, and then applying a level of corrective justice, which is what everyone's dying for when they've been disinvested in the conversation from here. Because it's very much like the order of events as well. Like she's just spoken to the group of Chinese nationals or English, so British citizens, as they said. So she's kind of got that side, and now she's trying to verify it. And she's not trying to say, okay, David, sit down, give me your, can I please just get your kind of sequence of events here? She's just like almost taking all the accusations and trying to disprove them by having this kind of strained tolerance in. And I think that's really bad. That's really bad way to deal with this, right? She, in the same way that when Reuben said he spoke to the police officer, what's the first thing the police officer said? You're kind of in the wrong here. You shouldn't really stand in the space, right? But let me see what I can help you to do, because, after that, there's obviously some issues with how the other party behaved. Like that wasn't how this officer approached that at all.
I think what was most frustrating about that exchange was that, like, she's gone and talked to the Chinese people first, and she's got like their completely warped view of what happened. But then she hasn't just kind of like received it as, all right, that's their side, which is going to be very much their perspective. She's come and brought that to him as though, and she's immediately, her starting point is that he's been cheeky or he's been in the wrong. Like that's like her starting point is that he's been racist. Like, oh, you can't say this stuff, like he's been carrying on, when it's just absolutely not true. Like that's just not what happened. And what she should have done is just played a complete straight bat and just said, oh, look, tell me what's going on today. Try and be friendly. And her request not to be filmed, it's her fucking job. She's a frontline person. She doesn't get to decide these things. Like, she can ask, she can say, oh, do you mind not recording? But the moment he says, no, I'm recording, like, she has got to, okay, fine, let's move on. It's her job. Like, you can't complain.
She's wearing her own body cam, by the way.
If she was like audited by one of these, like, sorry, just for anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about when I say auditors, like these are people like self-appointed YouTube people who go around and audit like either police stations or security guards or whatever to test how they will react, and they wind them up, and that's the content, like people being wound up. But like the police kind of know how to respond to those situations, and they do say, yeah, you're allowed to film in public, like that's fine, like there's no yeah, you're not doing anything wrong. Like the police do say that often to these auditors when they get police called on them. And she's not. She's like, oh no, what are you doing? Oh, you're being racist. I'm like, anyway, it was just like wanted to have that like sense of justice ending it, and it just didn't get it from her. And we weren't expecting them to like arrest them and like deport them or anything like that. Like we're just a little bit of like maybe some education to the Chinese group that yes, it's fine to film in public, and no, you don't have those rights. That might have gone down well for the viewer, I think.
And I'll just throw another thing in here. Like I am a big believer in free speech, and when I hear that some of the way that Brendan is talking, yes, we're on first name basis now, there are some alarms that go off in my head as like an Asian person. There are some, definitely some prejudice or racist tones going off, but I literally do not care. Like he is allowed to be racist, right? Like he may sound racist, he may be racist, whatever the fuck, it doesn't matter. We're talking about now an exchange around his rights, right? And what he's protected against. And that's where the police need to play things by the book, right? It doesn't matter. He could be a white supremacist for all I care. This is not about you liking him. This is about an exchange in society with the rules, and precedence there.
He's filmed it. They've regretted it after the fact. He hasn't done anything contrary to public decency. And then regarding like the racism sort of charge, right? He did not make this about race. They started by saying, we're here filming for Chinese TV, and then deploying a whole bunch of authoritarian style kind of edicts about the reasons they can't be shown, right? That do not correspond with UK law. And they had Chinese flags. And he said, we're not in China here, we're in the UK. You're allowed to do that here. because they seem to be implying that there's some legal obligation they have to Chinese TV or whatever. And that's not about race. He might have said some things not very tactful, and maybe he does have some of these underlying, prejudices or whatever, but he did not make it about race to begin with. The only reason that all came up later was because he was charged as being a racist. So I think that if that's the suggestion, that would be unfair as well.
I wasn't aware that he was allowed to film anyone in the background. He didn't convince me. He didn't explain to me as a viewer that he was doing nothing wrong.
Yeah, but the Chinese people didn't explain to him. It's not his role to explain to them.
True.
Or the viewers. Like the burden of proof. Yeah.
So he was just saying, it's a free country. It's a free country.
Yeah. But that is him saying, yes, it is a free country. I'm allowed to fucking film here.
If he had said,
in public.
Actually,
it's precisely the law, and that's what he's reinforcing. I think it's totally appropriate in the face of tyranny. The fundamental starting point that you can instruct someone in that way comes from a mindset of a highly restrictive, like authoritarian society. And to draw out that contrast and to call out tyranny and say, no, your starting point might be, you might be used to being able to come and demand like all of these things from me, but I'm here to tell you it's a free country. I think that is absolutely appropriate. I don't think us in Western liberal democratic countries like Australia or the UK in this case should shy away from saying that and calling that out, because yes, we are a free country and we should be proud of that.
I think that the premise, Reuben, that you're putting out there is an interesting one. It's kind of saying if Brendan Kavanagh only explained it a bit better, that in fact he was within his rights to film in the UK, that the Chinese group and individuals would have treated him a lot different. Is that what you're implying?
Yeah. I think he was going for drama, and yeah, I think they were mistaken.
The one last thing I want to ask you, Andy, is that for a country, China, or a party like the CCP, who see everything that is everything through this case of like a zero-sum game and maintaining face, what do you think is going to happen to this group of people? I'm serious. I'm actually serious. Like, because
which group of people? Because I think there's going to be different.
People.
Yeah. So like there's a very strong nationalism is very strong in China, right? So these people are definitely going to come across as like Team China, and like it's going to get spun as this whole like, oh, this, so they're going to get supported. And if anything, if they're criticized, it will be on grounds like you were foolish to like come off looking bad or something like that. But like I think there'll be a lot of hate for Brendan Kavanagh, because it was being seen as like, and he's gone on afterwards and done interviews and stuff like that, so he'll be seen as this like anti-China pariah, and he'll be attacked for those reasons. But these people, I don't think will be seen as like the warriors, like the
yeah, I'm not worried about that. I'm actually worried they're going to be hung up for making China lose face. That's what I'm implying.
So I think possibly that, but actually, I think there's a whole interesting story yet to play out around how like YouTube and other platforms respond to this, because you've got already the video that we've just like watched or listened to some excerpts from has been taken down because of YouTube reacting to all the Chinese bots that have like bombarded it to take it down, and there's all these comments on all these videos. And so actually it will be interesting to see if there's any actual lasting impact on him, because on one hand we're saying, oh yeah, he's gone viral and he's like now a household name on the internet at least, and this is great for him, like think of all this money that he's going to get from it. But that might not be true if he gets demonetized, or there's some other vulnerability in his setup. But anyway, we shall wait and see.
For the next few episodes, please, no more China, no more Asian subjects, please.
We haven't done our Winnie the Pooh Xi Jinping episode yet, Roger.